Divorced women don't need another New Year, New You speech. You need a clean break. And in this year's New Year's Eve episode, we're retiring 2025, what you're done carrying, what you're keeping, and what you're calling in for 2026. I'll guide you through a powerful closing ritual and a simple goal-setting framework built for women rebuilding after divorce. So you start the year with clarity, not chaos. Grab your notebook and let's get started. Welcome to the Crazy Ex-Wives Club, a podcast dedicated to helping women navigate the emotional journey that is divorce. I'm your host, Erica, and if you're trying to figure out life after the big D, welcome to the club. Whether you're contemplating divorce or dealing with the aftermath or any of the many phases in between, the club has got you covered. Each week, you'll hear stories from women who have been in your shoes. This isn't about spilling tea on divorce details. This is about giving you the tools to take control of your own healing journey. Listen in weekly for advice, tips, and tools to help you move through each stage of the process. Welcome back to another episode of the Crazy Ex-Wives Club. I'm your host, Erica, and today we are celebrating New Year's Eve. We are closing the container on 2025. We are setting you up for success in 2026. And don't think this is another boring goal setting, smart goal kind of workshop. We're going to get into the woo and the do. How do we balance the mindset, the feeling, the vibe, the frequency you want to have with clear action that you're ready to take? So thank you for joining me today. I'm honored to have you here to guide you through this process. And I want to start us off on this episode with a clear intention. This episode is about honoring what's been and staking claim in what you're calling in ahead of you. So I just want to also share a quick gentle reminder. This is for you, unapologetically for you. Leave the judgment, leave the expectations at the door. It's a safe space for you to truly venture into what you want to call in for the new year. If you guys have been online, I don't know how much of your feed is filled with the world of woo like mine is, but a lot of manifesting pieces, a lot of energetic shifts, a lot of astrology. But one of the big ones that I wanted to ground us in before we really get started in our practice of leaving 2025 behind and moving into 2026 is that we're actually in a really pivotal shift. So we're not just waving goodbye to 2025 or even this past year, but to an entire 9-year era that shaped, stretched, and transformed us all. So I want you to think of this truly as more of a cosmic reset. It is literally the ultimate permission slip to start fresh. So why 9 years? Well, in numerology, life unfolds in repeating cycles of 9 years, and each year with a unique assignment. And then each cycle culminating in a season of endings, clearings, and reorientation. So 2025 is a universal 9-year. It's kind of like the final act before the curtain rises on a new story. And I don't know about you, but I freaking love that because 2026 is a year one. It is a new beginning year. So I want you to think for a second. What did you begin 9 years ago? Was it your marriage? Was it your divorce? Was it one of your first bold moves towards a new you? A lot has happened in the 9 years, but go all the way back to the start. So go back to 2016. That would be our 9-year cycle. What was happening for you that year? I don't know about you, but for me, that is where we really shifted into separation. 2015 is when I found out. By the end of 2015, he had moved out. So 2016 was truly a year of, holy shit, we are starting a new phase. This is what the life might look like and all of the growth that happened throughout that year. So I want you to think about those 9 years. How have you outgrown what that dream was at the beginning? The beginning of this cycle, what were your goals, your dreams, the things that you wanted? How have you outgrown that? And what felt impossible then, but is a reality now? I can tell you back then it felt impossible to believe that there was a world that I could restart. And not only restart, but freaking love my new life. I thought, yeah, I could get through it. Yeah, I could keep going, but like this was it, right? If I lost this thing, But now you sit in a space that is completely different and shifted and reinvented in ways that you couldn't even imagine back then. So, 2025, the year in general, well, the end of this 9-year cycle, it's calling you to release, forgive, and complete. It is about integrating the lessons of the last 9 years. So, if life felt like old threads were unraveling, whether that was relationships or belief systems or even your own identity, the unraveling is literally making space for what's next, creating a clean slate, removing things, right? The universe doesn't like a vacuum, it doesn't like a gap. If something leaves, something new enters. This is a great opportunity to little journaling prompt for you. Write down one thing, a struggle, a story, an identity from the past 9 years that you're ready to retire. What do you want to let go? And then next year, as we move forward into our year one, the blank canvas, next year isn't just another rung on the ladder. It's like a first brush stroke on a blank canvas. So don't expect to have all the details colored in right away in 2026. It's the beginning of the next 9 years. It's the beginning of the next cycle. But there's one thing that's for certain. There's no more living by default. You can't just continue to float. And there's a few reasons why, but one of them is we're moving into a fire horse energy. We'll talk more about this in a little bit, but that fire horse energy doesn't want you to just go fast. It wants you to be free. Think about a wild horse running, right? The power, the strength, the passion. So there is no more living by like, oh, I'm just going to get by. I'm just going to do the same things I've always done. It's reinvention time, you guys. This is your call. It's your call to step the fuck up, to really become the conscious creator of your life and decide what you want in it moving forward in these next 9 years. So, what are you ready to try and build? What are you ready to shift? If you're not tethered to the last cycle's story, who do you want to become? As you can imagine, we don't change things in big leaps. And so if looking at a 9-year cycle feels a little bit overwhelming, that's okay, because guess what? We do it 1 year at a time. So it's good to always set a big picture reinvention, right? A big picture of who do I want to be in 9 years? Where do I hope that I am at in 9 years? But then you know what it takes? Action. That's really this balancing of the woo. The woo is who do I want to be? How do I want to feel? Where do I see myself in the future? And the do is the nitty gritty. What do I need to retire from 2025? What am I no longer willing to put up with that I learned in 2025? And what big actions do I want to take in 2026 that moves me closer to who I want to be? So here we are, New Year's Eve. We are about to retire 2025. You know, something that actually really irritates me since probably COVID, maybe before that. But you ever notice on social media that everybody ends the year by being like, good riddance. Thank God that year's over. Do you know why that happens? It's not that every year is worse than the year before, but it's that our minds are wired to see the things that didn't work out, right? That lasts a lot longer. That protective mechanism of, oh, look at all the things that didn't work. Don't do that again. That is your nervous system and your mind trying to create a protective mechanism when really there were some really good things. Were there some hard things? For sure. That whether it was good, hard, necessary, overwhelming, it served a purpose. And I think we have to stop putting a judgment that it was bad or it was terrible. Was it hard? Fuck yes, 2025 was hard. There were some pieces in there for me that whoo, and I am looking forward to rewiring and continuing to work on them in 2026 because the end of the year, the end of the cycle, it's not just a clean, instant reset, right? You don't go to bed on the 31st and wake up on the 1st a completely different person. It's just a way that we're managing time. It's a way that we're looking on things. But I want you to remind yourself that you are not defined by what happened in 2025, but by what you choose to do next. And this I cannot preach enough on. What has happened in the past has happened, and it hurt, and it rerouted you. But it no longer has the power to own you unless you give it that power. So stop turning that power over to the things that happened to you. It wasn't the fact that he cheated, right? A lot of years it was, oh, well, he cheated. He did these things to me. He is to blame for all the things that are still not where I want them to be in my life. I had to have a little wake up call, right? I had to be like, well, what do you want to do next? And then start building it. So let's start by looking at 2025 and getting real clear, not on just the hard stuff, but actually the gold. I want us to gather the gold from 2025. You get to a place in your divorce journey where you can look back and you can really think that, okay, all of the hardships, all of the pieces that hurt were in service to me. And it's really hard to believe when you are triggered and sobbing and crying on the floor and wishing that your life was different. And as you choose to take action every single day, to shift your mindset, to do the work to rewire those neural pathways, to calm your nervous system so that you feel safe, then you can start to see the beauty in the lessons. It's not that I wish I hadn't had the lessons. I wish that I hadn't been so damn stubborn. I wish I'd gotten through them faster. But there are no mistakes. We make the best choice we can in the moment. We make the best choice we're capable of doing, and we continue to make that choice until we're ready to make a new one. So let's gather the gold of 2025. If you're driving, don't close your eyes. The rest of you, if you're possible, I want you to give me about 5 minutes, maybe a little bit less. But what I want you to do is I want you to close your eyes. I want you to close your eyes and I want you to just observe your breath flowing in and out of the body, in through the nose, out through the nose. There's no need to change it. There's no need to shift it or control it. I just want you to bring yourself into this present moment. If it helps, one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, a grounding placement to help you feel present. And now I want you to start at the beginning of 2025, and I want you to recall each month. Think about January. What is one thing that you truly loved about January, even if it was small? What's one thing you're grateful for? What's one thing that stands out to you in that month? Now, if you have your journal, I'm looking at my journal in front of you, write down that moment. And now I want you to go through each month. February. Scan the month. Scan your memories. What happened in February? What was going on? What was a good thing? March. Keep moving through the months. April. The more you do it, the faster your mind gets. May. You start to realize that the things seem to feel a little better every month. June. July. August. September. October. Last month, November. And where we are now, the month of December. Scanning through each of these months, allowing your mind to sift and sort the memories, the moments, the key pieces that are being brought up. Look at all the gold that did exist. We get so busy and so focused on trying to achieve the next marker that we miss all of the great things that have been. We stay focused on where we're trying to go instead of seeping in the joy of what we do have. Because the reality is there will always be hard things. It's not about avoiding the hard things. It's about learning how to thrive around them. It's about learning how to not let them take you down. So as you reflect over each month's wins of 2025, what was the best? What was the absolute, hands down, number one moment. And I want you to zoom in on that. Almost imagine yourself back in that moment of time, playing that movie in your mind over and over again. How does it feel in your body? Celebrate it, revel in it, allow it to come to life for you again. And as you sit in those feels, if you have your journal, feel free to grab them or come back to this after the call. What about it lit you up? How can you create more of this feeling in 2026? And then set a simple intention. I invite in more, insert the vibe, the feeling, the frequency you found in 2026. What do you want more of in 2026? Find that word. My word, simplify. I'm inviting in more simple and present moments in 2026. Less hustle, less grind, less constant pushing, more presence, more tiny moments of joy, stacking them up, creating an hour, a day, a week, a month, a year that I'm madly obsessed with. So as you gather up that gold from 2025, let's talk a little bit about the year that is ending. You may have also seen this online, but we are in the closing of the year of the snake. And now this ends actually February 17th. So the cool part is it doesn't have to be done tonight. You are in the final phases, the final shedding, the final releasing of this snake year. And you have from now until the middle of February to finish releasing what no longer serves you. What are those old stories that are showing up? The fear-based stories, the shame, the places that you're hiding and playing small. We can leave those in 2025. We can start the work of becoming who you want to be. If you're feeling overwhelmed, exhausted from overthinking, and stuck in uncertainty, this message is for you. You don't have to keep feeling that way. Inside the club, you'll find a safe space to rediscover who you are, clarify what you want, and determine how you want to move forward. Surrounded by women who truly understand and guided by expert support, you are not alone on this journey. Join us at thecrazyexwivesclub.com/the club. It's time to reclaim your life. So snake lessons. I love a good snake. I can say that now. I can tell you in 2020, I did not love the lesson of a snake. It wasn't even a snake year, but for whatever reason, the freak occurrence that was 2020, that year snakes started showing up in my townhouse. Real alive snakes. I came down in the morning to make a cup of coffee and something moved in the dry rack. And I just remember that moment where it's like full body panic. And my son was in the other room watching cartoons. And I remember being like, Owen, did you put a snake in here as a joke? Because he kind of likes to do that. And he's like, no. And then the thing moved again. And it was a real snake. A real snake had come up out of the ground. It was warm that year. It was drawn into the house. The dishwasher was running, something, right? But in they started coming. And at first, freaking out, I can tell you that a snake is a massive, massive trigger for me. I don't even like seeing like a rope on the ground or a hose on the ground. That stuff makes me jump. 2020 didn't help that. By the end of the season, I think we had caught 13 snakes between the house and the garage. They kind of were bubbling up all over. And so it was the year I learned, what is the wisdom of the snake? And the wisdom of the snake is all about lessons and letting go. Think about a snake. A snake continues to grow. It outgrows the skin that it's in, and it has to shed it. It literally has to peel it off its body, and it has to do it in the right time. So we don't want to be like shedding our skin and be yanking it off the remaining bits because we didn't quite get there yet. That would be really painful, and you wouldn't be ready for what that next evolution of yourself looks like. So the year of a snake is a masterclass in shedding what's no longer serving you. So like spiritual exfoliation. Snakes outgrow their skin, right? They move through this many, many, many times. And that old skin, that old way of being can feel tight. It can feel constricted. It can feel impossible. And that's just like the roles or the habits or the belief systems that you're outgrowing post divorce. So this year of 2025 that ends mid-February, it's forced you to let go of what was never truly you. Was that guilt? Was that shame? Was it an old relationship story? What is it asking you right now? If maybe you're sitting here and like, I don't know what it was asking me. Sit down and reflect on that. Were there relationships or friendships that didn't go the distance, that had to fade away? Was there a shift in your job, a shift in your identity? Where are you operating based on somebody else's expectations and conditions that no longer feels good to you? You outgrew your skin. And at first, it can definitely feel raw or vulnerable because after shedding that old layer, right, the way that you always were, how everyone saw you, you probably feel pretty exposed and uncertain and totally, totally normal. So I don't want you to mistake that uncomfortable feeling or that discomfort for failure or that you've made a wrong choice. It's just new. It just takes time. So shedding takes bravery, choosing to let something go, to retire it, to have a closing ritual where you are choosing to say goodbye is a very brave, powerful, confident move. It doesn't mean that you don't love those pieces. I think we confuse moving on or shedding with saying, oh, we no longer like it or love it. That's what we're saying. Just like in divorce, right? Hey, I love you, but this is not it anymore. How do we shed that? How do we move through that? We can close a chapter, be grateful for a chapter, love the people in the chapter, and still know that we no longer fit in that story. So this year of the snake, this ending, is asking you to consciously choose growth over stagnation. Honor every hard no, every boundary, every place where it felt uncomfortable or wrong, or the things that you didn't want to be in anymore. So your journaling prompt for this one, what did you outgrow this year? What skin did you finally peel away? What roles are you letting go, even if it hurt? We cannot continue to try and stay in roles or places that no longer serve us. And divorce is the biggest catalyst. It is a hard pivot on having to figure out who you are and what you want and how you want to move forward in the next chapter. In the year of the snake, shedding those layers is the perfect time. So grab your journal right after this podcast, write it out. What did you outgrow this year? And then when you're done, I want you to remind yourself of this. You can use it as a mantra. You can repeat it right now as I say it to you. I bless the skins I've outgrown. I honor the space it created for me for something new. So where are we going, you guys? Oh, we're going somewhere fiery and we are going somewhere fast. The energy of 2026. So the energy of 2026 is a fire horse, bold, free, fast moving, fiercely authentic. This is a year that aligns with wild risk, saying yes to the big dreams. If there is something that has been calling you and you've been craving, say yes. Now is time to start taking action to move closer to those big dreams. This is an invitation to let courage lead you, not comfort, not the way you've always done it, but courage, the bravery, the confidence to say, I am ready. I'm ready to play at a new level and I'm ready to step into the new version of me. All right, so our theme from snake to fire horse is now about wild energy, forward movement, risk, reclaiming what lights you up. So fire horse years, they're big, they're vibrant, they are a little unpredictable. It's kind of like run wild and claim your space energy. So no more slow, reflective inner work like the snake. Okay, the snake's right, very slow moving, very reflective. 2026, bold, big. Think travel, new love, launching bold dreams, making your life vivid again. I think that this is why Every year since launching the podcast, I have wanted to put together a retreat. And you know when it's going to come to life? 2026. Why? Because we need to travel and reclaim ourselves. And we're going to build this amazing retreat around reclaiming who you are, right? Leveling up, shifting the frequency, all in travel, one trip. It's time to stop apologizing or playing small. We've done that. And the majority of the women that I speak to, when they tell me about what their married life was like, is they were playing small. They had set aside who they wanted to be so that it kept the group happy. It kept them cohesive. You don't have to do that anymore. In fact, I'm challenging you to never do that again. Now, there are times when I don't want to rock the boat, but that's not playing small. That's looking at my boundaries, my needs, my expectations, and saying, okay, I don't have to stomp on somebody else, but I also refuse to dim what I need or what I want to make sure that they're happy. And this year is going to support the risks you actually want to take. So, is that a dream home? Is it a new business? Is it an epic trip? Is it shifting your career? Is it just changing who you are? I mean, good Lord, even changing how you dress. It's a completely different thing. But no dream is too much for the year of a fire horse. So, I want you to ask yourself, if the sky was the limit, what does your wild, unleashed heart want? And free write it out. Set a timer. Give yourself 10 minutes. If nothing were to go wrong, what does your heart truly desire? You don't have to ask for permission. But what do you want to run towards? I mean, personally, I'm going to put up some pictures of fire horses. There's a couple actually I can see in my mind right now. But like picture yourself as that fire horse, mane flying, hooves pounding, utterly uncontained. You are free to bring more play, more courage, or even a little rebellion into your 2026 dreams. This is your year to leap, to lead, to live out loud, and let's not waste a single moment of it. That means that we need to start 2026 getting clear on the woo, the mindset, the frequency, the vibe I want to be on, and then take clear action to do what needs to get done to bring it into reality. All right, you guys. So this is my go-to way to call in goals. There are lots of different options out there, right? You can do vision boarding. It's a little like vision boarding. You can write SMART goals. I hate them. They are so logical, gross, linear. I love a mind map. You may have done mind mapping in your business world. If you ever worked corporately, we occasionally did mind mapping. I loved mind mapping because here's why. When we look at a big goal, it can get very overwhelming to try and figure out all of the pieces. And mind mapping says, I don't have to have all of the answers right now. I just have to have the desire. I can take action to support that desire, and I can leverage my emotions to understand when I'm making the right moves. But the mind map just says, just get it out on paper and take a look at it and start to play. When I learned to remove the stress or the pressure from achieving goals, things got a lot more fun. I was always one of those type A personalities. I want to plan, I want a goal, I want to move towards it. And the truth was, I had accomplished every single goal I had ever set for myself up until it came to the divorce. Because at that point, I thought I really needed to save the divorce. And thank God I didn't. Thank God. But I didn't know that during that time. And so I love to leverage mind mapping to start to look at the big areas of your life. All right, so here's what you're going to do. I want you to get your journal out. I have my journal out. I'm going to draw along and show you on screen if you happen to be watching this on YouTube or on Spotify. But you're going to start and put a big old circle in the middle. Just a big old circle. And then I want you to give it some sort of a title. Is it your dream list for 2026? Is it your wild and crazy dreams of 2026? Is it just 2026? That's what I'm putting in mind. Then around it, we're going to draw some smaller circles for each area of your life that you want to dream into. All right, there's some common areas. Home, friendship, love life, finances, travel, wellness. How are you taking care of yourself? Don't forget that one. or whatever other big buckets come to life, right? Usually it's around love, it's around money, it's around relationships, sense of security. So, like your home, if you want to move, maybe you want to plan a trip. Maybe you just have a big bubble that says trip. So, right now, we don't have to define any action that needs to be taken. All we get to do is dream up the most magical year that we want to have. And remember, at the start, we're at the start of a 9-year cycle, which means that we are starting to bring all these pieces to life. We get to partner it with the wild fire horse energy to make it happen fast. But it doesn't mean that everything has to be done and buttoned up in 1 year, but it says, hey, this is what's important to me right now, and this is where I'm going. So as you look at these big buckets, as you're starting to bubble up the little stories, the things that you want to accomplish, I want you to pick a word for the year. Deep thought moment, you guys. This is the woo side. How do you want this year to feel? Remember when we did this earlier in the episode? Is it that same word? Have you shifted it a little bit? Mine is the same. I want this year to feel simple. What's the opposite of simple? I don't want it to feel complex anymore. I don't want it to feel like a mad dash. I don't want to feel a hustle. I want to feel simple and aligned, simple and aligned, simple and aligned. But what's your year? I want you to take your year, your word of the year, and write it either on the top or the bottom of your paper. I'd put mine on the bottom because I put wellness up on the top of my circle. This is the word that's going to guide all your actions this year. So as you start to build in each of these circles, you're going to ask yourself, does this align with what my word is? Does this align with my theme? All right, so good example of one. I have been working on calling in my dream house. Not just any house, not the next house, but my dream house. So it's taken a little work because there's a lot of things tied to a house, aren't there? There's money mindset, money worries. There's location that I can't really control. There's all the chaos that's happening in the real estate world right now. And then there's what's really in my dream house. So for one of my circles that is home, what I'll start to list around it are the pieces that I realize I really want to have in that house. It's really important that the closet is big enough. Let me tell you, moving from my own townhouse where I took the entire master closet into sharing a closet has been difficult. It's been challenging. I want a closet where there's enough space for everybody. And how I also play around with this, because it can feel very task oriented and like another thing we have to do when we're just making lists. If it feels good to write the list out, write the list out. But I just have a board on Pinterest called Dream House. And when I see a picture of something, I pin it to the board. When I see an idea, I pin it to the board. So over the last couple years, I've been pinning to this board, and it's so fun to watch how it changes, right? There's things that I pinned a couple years ago that now I look at and I'm like, doesn't really fit the vibe anymore. It's not really what I'm going for. So your job is to look at each of these circles that you've put, the things that you want to achieve in 2026. And when it feels good, when it feels expansive, when it feels fun, dig into it and bring a little more clarity. It's not your job to have the entire how planned out. Here's how I'm going to pay for my house, and here's where I'm going to get a loan for my house, and here's where my house is going to be situated. Not my job. What my job is to get aligned with that future version. How does it feel to come home and stand in this perfect kitchen? How does it feel to put laundry away in my big master closet that has enough room for everybody? With drawers. Oh my God, our closet right now doesn't have any drawers. And I miss the drawers that I had at my last closet. So each time I get a little bit more specific, each time I get a little bit clear. What happens though is I don't have to dig into the worry. How am I going to pay for this? Where is it going to be? That's a lot of negative energy that's going to gum up my thinking and freeze me from being able to take action. That's how we get stuck. So your job, call it in by claiming the desire. What feels good? What doesn't feel good? Have fun with it. We are not perfecting the plan. We are having fun because guess what happens? As we have fun, as we add images and we get clear on what we want, things like new opportunities or new homes get listed in my example, but things start to pop up that lead us down the path. It's almost like you're skipping down stones along the river, right? You can go slowly and jump one stone to the next stone. Oh, there's the next stone in the little river that my shoes won't get wet. And as you do this, like, ooh, that feels good, and that feels good, and that feels good, you start to go faster. Things start to move forward. And this is that woo and that do. So I don't want you to write out 10 things that you need to do right now unless that feels really good. It feels really good some days for me to pop on the real estate app and to see what new things have shown up. But when I did it every single day and there wasn't a house that spoke to me, it actually became really draining. I started to feel like it was never going to happen. I was never going to have what I wanted. It's so impossible. The dream was getting so big and so overwhelming. So I stopped checking the app. And then all of a sudden, when I went in a few weeks later, there were a bunch of new houses listed. This is that playing of the game. If it feels good, get specific and start to narrow down. I went to Colorado and I spent 10 days driving around the state to try and figure out which town really spoke to me. What was the right vibe of what I wanted to do and where did I want to live a little bit later? Have fun with it and leave it open, right? Leave it open to things refining and changing and growing as you learn more about who you want to be in this next chapter. Maybe your house thing is just, I just need to figure out how I can keep the house we're in so that I don't lose it during the divorce. Totally realistic and a beautiful goal for 2026. Or maybe you want to call in a new house that's the right fit for what you need right now. I didn't call in a new house that was the perfect fit forever. I called in a cute, perfect for that time, tiny townhouse because it was the vibe and the energy, the support. God, that house supported us and loved us for so many years until we outgrew it. And the dream and the desire changed. So I want you to be a little outrageous in this, wilder, bigger, more beautiful than you think you deserve. Because what we want to do is find those places where your mindset, your thoughts, your limiting beliefs are actually what's stopping you from taking action. Because when we believe that anything is possible, then we're willing to take the risk. We're willing to ask, right? We're willing to make a career shift or maybe take on a second job to get what we really want. But if we think it's never going to happen, then why do we put in any effort? And we don't. Embrace the fire horse energy, right? Embrace the power, the intensity, the passion. Go wild, go crazy. We're not saying all of it is going to action this year, but we're saying, wouldn't it be fun if it did? So the last thing I want to leave you with is really fine tuning into calling in who you want to be, right? It's about integration. It's about how do I take aligned action? How do I define what the next steps are for me? You don't have to go back to do things the way that they were done before. It is about really sifting and sorting on every single thing and saying, does this still serve me? Do I still like it? And you know how you decide that? What are your emotions telling you? When you think about it, do you get really excited or do you get really overwhelmed? Lean into the places that feel really good. It's the tower card. Things are falling apart. That's okay. It's the beauty of a new year, a new goal, a new vision ahead of you. And then tap into it as often, as frequently as possible. This is where putting yourself in the space that holds you accountable helps you truly move forward. I think we can all say we have felt stuck at different places and points in our life. You're stuck in the old habits, the old patterns, though this is the way I've always done it and I know how to handle this level. Is that what you want? And if the answer is no, then you need to choose differently. You need to take action that is aligned with where you want to go. So at least once a month, I like doing a bigger, deeper, guided meditation and reflection. Really tuning into who I am, feeling that heart-centered pull, that abundance, that love, that grace that my divorce taught me. That's who I am. I always talked about I have a superpower and my superpower is called love because I was choosing to love people through very difficult situations. Love and grace. 2 huge guiding principles for me. And it's what I wish for you. If we all had a little bit more love and extended a little bit more grace, the world would be very different. But you also have to take action. So put yourself in the room. Yes, you can do this work on your own. It's a lot more fun to do it with other people. It's a lot more fun to be in a space where people understand what you're going through because there is this thing that happens There's this thing that happens when we are transforming and when we are becoming someone new. And I call it the recovery recoil. You're recovering, you're moving forward, 2 steps forward. And then what happens? We recoil a little bit, we slip, we trip, we take a step backwards. And what happens is that when we don't have the right people around us, we think we're never moving forward. We think we haven't made any movement. We think we're still stuck. We're still rebuilding. Oh my gosh, I'm never going to get out from around this. But when you're in the room with other women who get it, from listening to the podcast to joining the club membership to doing some of the other programs, this is how you get to see the progress you're making in very real time, because you have community who's supporting you and celebrating, and most importantly, because they too have gone through it. There is something about somebody just knowing, and especially when it comes to divorce, because we all understand divorce on paper. We all understand it's hard. But what people don't understand is the abstract part, the ties that stay connected to our heart, the grief that still shows up, the things that shouldn't be so difficult because logically it makes sense. He was cheating. You should want a divorce. But emotionally, sometimes hearts aren't ready. So I hope that you loved this episode. There are so many pieces coming for you. All right, in January, we have a whole month all focused on helping you really lock in who you want to be. And in fact, the next episode is actually a recorded divorce detox hour from the club. So the club is our divorce community. It is membership based and you can join monthly or annually, but once a month we do a deeper dive. We go deep into visualizing who you are and who you want to be and bringing that into this present reality instead of, well, someday I'll be her. So I recorded our last call where we were saying goodbye to 2025 and moving forward in 2026, and that'll be posted next week. Then we have a guest on to help you really create the vision of who you want to be for 2026. And we round out the year, I believe, with the stories round out the month with the stories from the other side. But this is about you becoming grounded in who you are. There are so many support tools to help you. Free discovery calls with me, the club membership, whether it's monthly or annually, as well as some other programs. All you have to do is reach out. And sometimes that first step of just asking for help or saying, hey, I'm curious. Can we have a chat because I'm curious? I might not be ready to make a decision, but I want to know what's out there. Follow your emotions when it feels good, when you hear the whisper, when you're curious to learn more, lean in. To get out of where you're at, you have to be ready to take action. And we're ready to take action when we get in control of our emotions, when we stop feeling so damn crazy about all the things that are floating through our head, the worries, the uncertainties, the who knows what's going to happen. You have help, you have support, and I am so excited to see what 2026 brings you. Do me a favor though, hop over to Instagram after you listen to this message, drop a story and tag me or send me a message. Let me know what your word is. I would love to hear what you are calling in for 2026. Until then, you guys, I love you. I am sending you so much love and support and excitement as we move into this new year together. And that's it. Another great episode of the Crazy Ex-Wives Club, a podcast for women learning how to heal from their divorce. Tune in next week for more advice and tips to help you figure out life after divorce. And until then, give yourself grace, do the best you can, and know that this is all part of the process.